year and a half, and then he left and went into practice, I think, somewhere in Chicago. But by that stage, we had a number of fellows, Joel Bennett, Doug Sines, DuPont Geary, Alan Schreiber, and then Sandy Shatil came too around that time, and he's been one of the best recognized of all of the early fellows that we had in the section.
Yeah.
Yeah. John Glick came around about 74, I think. It might have been 73 or late 73 or 74. But you should get that from John's own mouth, I think. He set up, we used to have a hematology meeting, and it was, if I recall, Tuesday at 4 o'clock. And John set up, when he came to run an oncology session, which was once a week, and was very good for training. They had case presentations and very good for training in oncology. So those were the two sort of regular sessions that were established in the Hem-Onc section.
But it sounds like back when you were there, it was largely hematology with a little bit of onc starting.
That's correct. But by mid-74 and into 75, oncology was getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Prior to John arriving, a lot of the oncology was done by two of the physicians who'd stayed on from the previous people occupying that part of the building, Peter Cassilis, Fred Goldwine. They were sort of wise mentors for anything connected with oncology, although Peter was very active in hematology leukemia trials, I think with the Eastern Cooperative Oncology Group.
Right. And Fred, I think, was more in private practice, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct, yeah. Whenever we had a problem, we'd discuss a lot of the pathophysiology, some of the landmark studies in a particular disease, and when it came to management of the patient, everyone would have an opinion, and then finally we'd turn to Fred Goldwine and say, well, now, what does the wise old man say? And he was like the venerable aged physician who had the last word on what you'd actually do to manage the patient to the best of your ability.
People have told me that Fred would have someone's sternal aspirate done before they even said, okay, go ahead and do it. That he was very fast.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Yeah, that's right. We did a lot of sternal aspirates. Yeah. In fact, when I went into practice back in Melbourne here in Australia, I often did sternals in preference to the iliac crest. But, eventually the Israel needle proved to be just so superior to sternal aspirates. Sternal aspirates, I think, are pretty much out of favor now.
Yeah. And did you have, Jim, a laboratory or did you work in Buzz's laboratory, or how did that work?
So Buzz set me up with my own lab. We did a lot of collaborative work initially. Buzz was measuring, he did some work in hereditary phagocytosis, but I think he was very busy with administration. And and, you know, actually developing the section into